All right. All right. Testing one, two. Testing one, two. Okay. All right. Let's see. Just want to make sure everything is all lined up. Have all my ducks in a row. Making sure everything is. Make sure everything is everything. Everything is good. Everything's copacetic. All right. Give it the 1 minute mark, then I start. All right. Shalom, shalom. Israel, this is your brother Shamal Al-Qassad, giving all thanks to the Most High Yahweh and his beloved son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Today is Monday, uh, September 4th, 2023, aka Labor Day. And right now, I just want to do this short live stream on, touching on the topic again of, the charagma. You understand what I'm saying? The elder Zaab, you know what I'm saying, from Lines of Israel. He just had a presentation, was it this past Sabbath or Sabbath closing on, he made a short movie, funded from his own pocket of, the charagma, you know what I'm saying, the MOTB. You understand what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, also to continue in the spirit, because I had this the setup for this show sitting for a while now. It's just that I had some family things that was going on that I had to take care of first. You know what I'm saying? And now seeing that the elder just did the presentation where he showed his short movie, and that the full movie will be out soon. That would be the perfect time to touch on this topic. So, you know, um, without further ado, just want to do some house cleaning before we get in. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. You know what I'm saying? Share, tell a friend. Let's get the word out. Support Hebrew Israelite Media, Wabaka Shah. You know what I'm saying? And the first scripture, I gotta get into it, because that's the theme of the show. The show is another episode of the beginning of sorrows. You know what I'm saying? Where we go into Bible prophecy, current events, you know what I'm saying, and how it relates to you know, what's happening. We go into current events and how it relates to Bible prophecy, in these last days. You know what I'm saying? The time is speeding up, things is getting kind of crazy. Things is, a lot of things that's happening now that we never in a million years would think happen, and so that you don't miss the prophecy, or the certain prophecy don't go over your head. You know what I'm saying? This is where brothers like myself and other brothers come in, so that you guys know, listen, we at that time. You know what I'm saying? We almost out of here. You know what I'm saying? So, and also, there's some scriptures. Also bring out scriptures to exhort, the brothers and sisters that's enduring, that's going through hell in this captivity, and what I'm saying, and what to do when that day comes, and you're staring down, you know what I'm saying, being, having to take the poke, or you know what I'm saying, having to take the poke and have your life all nice and on the easy street, or you know what I'm saying, refuse to poke, and you pretty much struggle and suffer, you and your family. You understand what I'm saying? So without further ado, anyone in the chat, please let me know if you can hear the sound well. Welcome, Shah. Let's get the first scripture and let's get the show on the road. First scripture is, as always, to start off. Slack it. First scripture to start off, as always. What else? Matthew 24, starting at verse 6. As a matter of fact, let's start at verse 4. Because just let you know, it's coming straight from Hamashiach Yahushai's mouth, so that you know what exactly is being said and who's saying it. Stop it. All right, here we go. Matthew 24, starting at verse 4. And Yahushai answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So, you see that already, where people that come in saying that they're anointed, they come in the name of Yahushai, with Christianity, we could sell out people in the faith, so on and so forth. You see that now. Verse 6, and you shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So what you see right now, all this saber rattling between Russia and the U.S. and China and the U.S. and this country and that country and all that, that's all you see, wars and rumors of wars. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places, which is everything you see right now. Everything in verse 6, verse 7 just happened this year. For nation shall rise against nation. You see the whole war between Russia and Russia and Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Started beginning at the beginning of this year or last year, and they thought it was going to be a quick skirmish, and that Ukraine had it in the bag. Fast forward, months or like a year later, we still in this war. You know what I'm saying? Famines, what you see happening now. A lot of these supermarkets are closing down. You know what I'm saying? This whole thing, I'm gonna have to do a video on it. I forgot what country. Oh, I believe India is supposed to, I think, cut off the Western hemisphere of the rice. You know what I'm saying? So real soon, rice is about to be scarce. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of food famines and food shortages that's about to come down the pike. The whole a lot of these farmers that was paid by the U.S. government to pretty much put down all the animals, put down all the the cows and the flocks and stuff. All these chicken, these food processing plant miraculously exploding out of nowhere. No one knows how it happens, and this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? You see famines happening right before your eyes, and pestilences. The you know what I'm saying? Eventually, talking about that is coming back. There's some new variant now. You understand what I'm saying? You see that happening. You know what I'm saying? There's some. There's a historical black college in Atlanta. Out of last week or the week before, decided, hey man, everybody mask up again. You know what I'm saying? It's only gonna be a matter of time where they're gonna bring back that mask, and God forbid, bring back that. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get dinged by YouTube. Second, verse 8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So that's the theme for the show. You know what I'm saying? That the first scripture I always bring out. You know what I'm saying? Those are the beginning of sorrows to let you know that, your problem's just beginning. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's basically what Hamashiach Yahushua said. Your problems are just beginning. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get worse from here. You know what I'm saying? So to keep it going, right now we're going to get into this old segment that I did about this the CB was it CBDC with the FedNow. I did this in a video a few months ago. I reviewed this video a few months ago, breaking it down. This Edomite guy, what's the name? Andrew Jisk. I'm just try to bring up the video of Shah. And he explained a lot of things and a lot of concerns that a lot of folks, including myself, like, hold up, you know what I'm saying? Which lets you know of what's about to come down the pike and this new system. Because as you can see, the U.S. government is starting to move away from, the paper dollar, the paper money. You know what I'm saying? And making everything digital. So this all going to tie in to the MOTB, the Karagma. You know what I'm saying? And it ties in with, the message that Elder Zahab, put in this movie, because it's like, listen, everything's going to be digitalized. You're going to be tracked. You're going to, you're going to have everything, you know what I'm saying, pretty much inside of you. And they're trying to have it set up where you can't do nothing unless you got it. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty much a comply or suffer. So let me find a video, Baba Kashar. Give me a minute. It's like it. Sound off in the chat if you guys can hear it clearly, or if you guys are following Baba Kashar. So let me know. If just let me know what's going on, Baba Kashar. All right, I think I got it. Okay, Just make sure everything is set up. Transfer the. Okay. All right, I got it. I'm just firing it up. Other side says Shalom Shem. Kalak. Tuwada, he said, you Tuwada. All right, so without further ado, now let me get to the video. All right, again, I did break down on this video a few months ago from this this Edomite guy, Andre Jisk, however you say his name, and you know what I'm saying. He did a breakdown on this, with this whole FedNow program. That was before, because I think they were supposed to be testing it out like May or June, and July is supposed to be the official release. And he did a breakdown on what this program may have, and it's a lot of nastiness for the folks who missed it. I'm gonna go over it again to bring out the amount of nastiness that the elites are putting into this program to eventually trap you up. All right, so without further ado, you guys can see the screen. Okay, let me take myself out this shot and take the thing off. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it.
The Chinese last month unveiled the world's first digital currency from a major power. Currency that would not be printed, but would exist only in cyberspace on your phone, for example.
Oh, sorry.
Is the Fed working on a digital dollar?
We are actually evaluating that. Most major countries are now looking at the possibility of having a digital currency and really asking the question.
Imagine a government that creates money that has an expiration date. And if you don't use it, it'll disappear. That's happening already.
See, and that's the first that's the first nasty surprise that they got for you. You know what I'm saying? They put time limits on your money, and if you don't use it, it could disappear.
the digital yuan, and Americans are rightfully skeptical.
President Biden issued an executive order to explore the creation of a U.S. central.
Slakia, before that, let me just say this video is using fair use. And also this video was from, from 4 months ago. So maybe like what, May? So obviously the time has passed and that the program is now out, but this was what was before it came out and what, you know, what it entailed.
Central bank digital currency, effectively converting the dollar into a centralized digital currency.
The Federal Reserve just announced that it's about to show us its new digital payment system this year in July. This is having a huge ripple effect across the entire internet because the US dollar is in the process of being replaced by a central bank digital currency, or a CBDC. In fact, most countries around the world.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? The eventual goal of the elite is to replace the American dollar with the CBDC, the digital currency, and they kind of show you that during COVID, that where after a while, especially like for the folks that was taking the train, that they pretty much stop having like the clerks in the booth dish out cash. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to buy like a $10 Metro card and you gave them a 20, like they didn't have no cash for you. You either have to do it all through the machine, or you have to have it digital. You have to do it through the machine, and I think you had supposed to have exact change too, or that it got to be digital, meaning it got to be on your debit card. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of alluded to that back then, which pretty much went over everybody's heads. But now, as you see, they're being more blatant with it. Let's continue.
Are creating their own right now.
What if I told you 90% now of the world's central banks say they're investigating central bank digital coins?
According to a report by Citi,
and you see that 90% of the world's bank, which means whatever country you might be in, they all on board. Just a heads up.
By 2030, there will be up to 5 trillion digital dollars circulating the global economy. But there's
see that 5 trillion. 5 trillion by 2030. And the funny thing is that 2030 is that magical timeline where the elites want everything everything on the agenda to be running smooth, to be up and running. 2030. Pay attention.
a problem because most Americans don't trust the government to do this. In the 1950s, for example, the era that was called the golden age of capitalism, when we had unprecedented economic growth and higher wages, a point in history far from perfect, but in 1958, Pew Research asked the American people if they trusted the US government to do what was in their best interest. And they did. That trust reached a peak of 77% by 1964. But over time, that trust has been gradually eroding, and today, that number has dropped all the way to 20. Only 1 out of 5 Americans trust the government to do this. And it's also why people like to use other forms of money like cash and even cryptocurrency. But right now, the government has their own idea for a CBDC, central bank digital currency. And this will have a huge consequence, not only on ideas like privacy, freedom, but even Bitcoin. So in today's
no matter what you do, you are in sales. I've spent the last 20 years researching and writing about.
All right.
Today's video, I want to help explain exactly what this is, how this might work, and how this will ultimately affect us. So with that said, let's get right into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jick. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the new Fed payment system and CBDCs. Now, the two are somewhat connected, but they're not the same, even though people are confusing them as one.
It's a whole new system that's faster and better than traditional banking. You can go to a grocery store and buy a few items with your hard-earned money, and then you present your Fed card with a trusty Federal Reserve representative, and they'll say, oh, yeah, you're too fat, so you can't buy any of these things. The end.
Yeah, so that's not at all how it works. Here's how it actually works.
which he's correct. You know, like I said before, and I say again, I don't think they're going to be on it like that. You know, as far as, oh, you know, you're too fat, you buying too much stuff, we're denying your transaction. I don't think it's going to be that, but pay attention of what sinister thing that they might have. So like it. Let me. All right. Let me stop it. Let me continue.
This new payment system will make it so that businesses and people will be able to send and receive instant payments 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, and that's because funds will settle between banks in real time and will only just take seconds. Here's a couple examples of how this will be used in practice. Let's say you're a coffee shop owner and you needed a quick delivery of some coffee beans. Once you got a request of payment from your supplier, you would pay through a participating bank like your credit union, and the coffee bean supplier would instantly receive your payment. On the back end of things, your credit union would send an ISO 20022, which is a digital form to the FedNow service, which would validate it and send a message to the coffee beans bank. That receiving bank would then confirm in real time that it could receive the payment, and the FedNow service would then debit and credit the money and then send a message to both banks that the settlement was completed. Now, that whole process, which sounds insanely complicated, would happen pretty much instantaneously. But the system we have right now just takes a lot more banks, time, and a lot more money. And this service will eventually apply for things like bill pay and for sending money from one account to another. This will be super helpful if, for example, you have a utility bill that's due on that same day and you want to pay it right away without paying late penalty fees. Now, eventually the Fed will want us to use it for peer-to-peer transactions so we can send money to each other in the same way that we use Venmo or Apple Pay. For now, though, this service will only be made available to people within the United States, so you won't be able to send money instantaneously overseas. Now, this will be rolled out in phases starting in July, but already in the first week of April, they're giving out formal certifications for their quote participants. So that is the FedNow payment system, which is tied to the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. So let me explain what that is. But first, a quick word.
So basically, what he's saying is that, all right, long story short, that is basically another form of Cash App. You know what I'm saying? But this one is government funded. You know what I'm saying? So government funded Cash App with the transactions happening instantly, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much, pretty much works the same. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. It's government funded. You know what I'm saying? Do you really want the government in your business to know what you're doing and what you're spending, what you're buying? Obviously, the answer is no. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so that's the first thing. That's the first thing that a lot of folks will find problematic. Slack it. Let me
Word from today's sponsor. Inflation and the declining economy are extremely stressful, especially for families. In 2021, when
let me fast
opening
forward through
accounts or getting loans, using my link. Jamaica and Nigeria. 18 countries are in the testing phase, including the Bahamas with their sand dollar, Jamaica, and...
Sorry.
Let's get back to it. Right now, we're... Just click the link below in the description.
Okay, and that's another thing. Slocket, when he said that the people that was getting like certificates and stuff like that, those are the people that that were hired to test out or was approved to test out the program before they eventually rolled it out a couple months ago. You know what I'm saying? So listen, I'm pretty sure that the program going to still have its kinks, but when they feel ready, when they feel like they're ready, they're going, well, is it ready out now? But, it's in the testing phase, but eventually they're going to force people to take it on more.
Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this portion of the video. And now let's get back to it. Right now, we're seeing the creation of these central bank digital currencies happening all over the world. 11 countries have already launched their own digital currency, including the Bahamas with their sand dollar, Jamaica, and Nigeria. 18 countries are in the testing phase. 32 countries are developing their own right now. 39 are trying to figure it all out and researching. Only 15 are inactive and 2 are canceled. But all in all, 100...
Hold up.
14 countries representing 95% of the world's GDP are in some way involved with this process, including the US. Now, the obvious question is,
see, that's the thing. They're about to make this worldwide. It's a worldwide agenda. You understand what I'm saying? So this right here, because the Israelites that think that, you can flee to another country and everything going to be all good. Nah. Wherever you're going to go, you're still going to catch hell. Wherever you're going to go, all these other countries from Jamaica to Nigeria to whatever the country is rolling their own form of the digital dollar. So even some of these other countries that so-called third world is still entertaining the idea of moving off the paper or the coin money to the digital. You know what I'm saying? So this system is about to be everywhere. All right, let's continue.
Why is the Federal Reserve so focused on digitizing dollars if the dollar is already digital and it's already on our phone? The answer is there's a huge difference between true digital currency and the system we have today, because our current monetary system relies more on digital claims of currency. This is why when we use banks and we transfer from one account to another, or we use apps like Zelle and Venmo and Apple Pay, we're actually sending digital IOUs and digital claims to money, but not necessarily the money itself. And that's why banks need to use third-party banks to verify transactions to make sure that the money we are sending exists there in the first place. And a true digital currency would be true value transferred from A to B without the use of a bunch of third-party banks. All of this is starting to sound kind of like the things crypto is already trying to solve, except there's a couple huge differences. CBDCs are controlled through a private network by the government, so they're not decentralized, and that gives the government full control over its supply and how quickly they can move it from point A to point B. And with that, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons. Now, there's a ton of opinions on this subject, so I'm going to save mine toward the end of the video if you want to see that.
Here we go. This is where it gets interesting.
But if the government creates their own CBDC, here's what that would allow them to do that's good and not so good. A central bank digital currency would give the Fed direct control over the supply of money, which is actually good, because right now they already do this with something called quantitative easing. We saw this during the pandemic when they flooded the economy with money by buying mortgage-backed securities and treasury bonds. But they can also shrink the supply of money through quantitative tightening, which is the same process but in reverse, by selling off their assets, which is what they're doing now, with the exception of this anomaly, which represents all of those failed bank bailouts. The point is this: our financial system is so complicated that it almost works like a Rube Goldberg machine, if you've ever seen those. So think of this new central bank digital currency system as financial enslavement, but with less steps. If I disappear, it was not by magic. Another benefit is speed, because...
And he's absolutely right. It's financial enslavement. You're going to see why in a minute.
Money will be programmable, it would hypothetically stabilize the value of the dollar, and it would modernize the banks. It would also make sending money and stimulus by the government much faster, and in theory lower the cost of banking, because it would force the banks to compete with the Fed to make transfers and even ATM machines much cheaper. A CBDC would also help with tax revenues, because most people wouldn't have to file their taxes. Instead, the government would know exactly how much money we've made, so they would send us an invoice and we would just have to pay. So it sounds like a lot of...
And that's the first problem with this whole CBDC. That is the first problem with the CBDC. Now it's pretty much like Cash App, where remember the whole thing a couple years ago where Sleepy Joe was talking about that if you received at least $600 or more as transactions through Cash App, that you have to file a 1099. Now they could do it with this. So with this whole FedNow program, there's no more off the books job. You work a 9 to 5, but let's say you put down floor tiles, as a side hustle. You know what I'm saying? So when the one day floor is redone, you put down floor tiles for a couple $100, and they pay you, through Cash App and stuff, under the table. With this FedNow program, there's none of that. You know what I'm saying? With this FedNow program, everything you do, even transactions, is going to be quote unquote on the books. So, you know what I'm saying? If you mess with that program and do all that, the government gonna know how much more you make, and they send you an invoice and let you know whether or not you owe them any money. They send you an invoice, hey, what is you owe us $5,000 because we saw that you was pulling in money from you saw that you received like a few $1,000s from your personal business. Listen, there's no hiding from this program. That's the main point. There's no hiding from this program. And again, I'm gonna say like this: this program is starting off optional, but eventually, as the years go by, they're gonna force it to make it mandatory. You understand what I'm saying? Kind of like Cash App. When Cash App first came out, it was like, huh? Like you didn't know what it was, how it functions, so on and so forth. How I found out about Cash App was, my ex-rib at the time, she's the one that put me onto it. You know what I'm saying? So I decided, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna start rocking with it now. Oh, it's quick, it's easy, a link to your bank account. Oh, let me do that. And then after a while, everybody named Mama started, made the transition over to Cash App. You understand what I'm saying? So it's pretty much with the CBDC. It's out there. Got a few people who test it out, tinkering it out, and as soon as they start, I guess putting like incentives, kind of like with Cash App, or get this person to join and we give you $100 and stuff like that. Stuff like that gonna start reeling people in to take that program, not knowing that program is a trap. And Andrew Jisk, he already told you the first one. Number one, everything's above the books. Everything's on the books. Everything's on the books. There's no hiding from the government. So the government know everything you do. So if you cut grass as a side hustle and they pay you through FedNow, yeah, the government watching all that. Oh, okay. Oh. So they're gonna tell you that, which how much you make on your regular job, and you just send you an invoice come tax time. Yeah, you owe us $500 because we know you was cutting grass on the side. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't no hiding from the government. And for you ladies out there, any ladies that might be watching or may watch this in the future, all this having a bunch of dudes send you cash apps and stuff like that, yeah, the government gonna be watching that too. Just letting you guys know. So let's continue.
Are really great benefits, but unfortunately, there's a lot of downsides and a lot of risks.
So what the central bank digital currency is all about is surveilling Americans and controlling behavior of Americans. And how do we know? Because we've seen this happen in other parts of the world.
People are calling the concept of...
And as much as that asshole as Ron DeSantis is, he's absolutely right about that. That's the whole point of this FedNow program. Surveilling and controlling. Let's continue.
CBDCs as Big Brother's digital dollar. And it makes sense why people are skeptical, because CBDCs will be tied to your unique digital ID that'll be used to build your social proof, which all sounds exactly...
Wait, hold up. Let me run that back. Did you guys catch it? Did you guys catch it? Let's play it again.
All about is surveilling Americans and controlling behavior of Americans. And how do we know? Because we've seen this happen in other parts of the world.
People are calling the concept of CBDCs as Big Brother's digital dollar. And it makes sense why people are skeptical, because CBDCs will be tied to your unique digital ID that'll be used to build your social proof, which all sounds exactly...
Digital ID, this CBDC, this FedNow program is tied to your digital ID and also build your social credit score. Problem number two. That means you think you're gonna rock with a program and still talk about the government at the on the side? It's not happening. You know what I'm saying? Them boys will come for you. You know what I'm saying? They gonna come for you. You know what I'm saying? The priest kind of went into that at the presentation on Saturday. That with this whole the social credit score that started from China is coming here. You know what I'm saying? And it's coming here in small waves. It's coming here in small waves. And this is going to be the major program that they implemented. See the internet is kind of like shaky. If you guys can still hear me, please sign off at the chat. If the sound, if I'm borging or the sound's cutting off, please let me know. Baba Kasha. I guess I'm streaming during prime time hours, so everybody and their mama going to be online, you know, using Wi-Fi. Right. Let me continue. Just finish up this program. All right.
Exactly like the next plot of a Black Mirror episode. If the government wanted, they could freeze your assets, and if they don't like what you're spending, with the flick of a switch, your bank account now shows zero.
Mr. President.
And you see that? That's problem number 3. That's problem number 3 with the FedNow. You know what I'm saying? Government controlled digital dollar, government controlled bank account. You don't like what you're saying, you know, like for the Israelite brothers that's on the street saying, you know, Esau's the devil, America's gonna fall, you know, the rainbow agenda is you know, is wicked, and the Mossad is going to judge people that's a part of that lifestyle. With a flick of a switch, off goes your bank account. With a flick of a switch, your assets is now frozen. So let's say you let's say you got $2,000 on the bank. A flick of a switch, your bank account can become zero. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure the government, oh no, we're gonna do that. Trust me, they will. They will. They will. And the perfect example for that is, again, the whole the trucker convoy thing that happened in Canada. Was it like last year? Where the prime minister, it was a bunch of truckers in Canada that was protesting. I believe it was either that, or I believe it was the gun laws or the lockdowns. So something like that. And that what Prime Minister Trudeau did was froze all the truck drivers' bank accounts. So they couldn't get no money out of the bank or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So what ended up happening was the people that supported the protest, they was giving them bread too. You know what I'm saying? To make sure they could still protest and get their point across, and hopefully that the government would listen and cave to their demands. Guess what that devil Justin Trudeau did? He froze the people that was donating. He froze their accounts too. So they found out that you was donating to the truckers that were protesting. Guess what? Their bank accounts got froze. You understand what I'm saying? And that happened in Canada. You don't think that can happen in the U.S.? Come on now. Slack Bonyawa Shops. Shalom, Musa bless, Yabba Shimir Sharakata. Hope all is well. So, but right now we already point out 3 bad things. Number 1, they can monitor and surveil you. Number 2, they can control you. They control how much you spend, and if you don't like what you say, they can shut you off. You know what I'm saying? And number 3, damn, I forgot what number 3 was. Slack it. I forgot what number 3, but I'll get into that. But the thing is, that's not even the worst part of it, or that's not even all of it. There's still more. There's still more.
The Blemflark's value just dropped to nothing.
What do you mean?
I mean, our single centralized galactic currency just went from being worth 1 of itself to 0.
Slack it. Let me replay that part again. From Ron DeSantis. All right, here we go.
All about is surveilling Americans and controlling behavior of Americans. Americans. And how do we know? Because we've seen this happen in other parts of the world.
People are calling the concept of CBDCs as Big Brother's digital dollar. And it makes sense why people are skeptical, because CBDCs will be tied to your unique digital ID that'll be used to build your social proof. Which all sounds exactly like the next plot of a Black Mirror episode. If the government wanted, they could freeze your assets, and if they don't like what you're spending, with the flick of a switch, your bank account now shows zero.
Mr. President, the Blimflark's value just dropped to nothing.
What do you mean?
I mean, our single centralized galactic currency just went from being worth one of itself to zero of itself.
Oh, dear God, no. Calm down, people. Deploy the galactic militia and declare martial law.
Yes, sir. What should I pay them with? Their payment is the honor they'll feel to serve their... Wait, who's paying me to yell at this guy?
Give me your jacket!
Give me those pants!
The creation of a CBDC would give them the technological power to do exactly that. If the government wanted to encourage spending, they could airdrop some dollars in our bank accounts instantaneously, which sounds nice. But if they want to discourage saving, with the flick of a switch, the money could have an expiration date, which is exactly what China did to encourage spending. Now, if all of this stuff sounds like a conspiracy theory,
and that's the final part of what's bad about this CBDC program. You know what I'm saying? That if the government want, they could airdrop you some money real quick. You know what I'm saying? On the condition that you spend it as soon as possible. And you know what I'm saying? Which to me, I honestly see that the American government could do all that because again, like I brought out in the last show that the show that I did a few months ago using this same video, one of the things that around 2021, 2022, you know, when it was hanging out the stimulus checks and the child tax credit funds and stuff like that, that one thing that a lot of people didn't know was that some of the senators was complaining that the people wasn't spending the money as fast to their liking. You know what I'm saying? That some of the folks was getting the money and saving it because they didn't know what the hell was going to happen down the road. You know what I'm saying? And that, you know, the government, you know, the House and the Senate, they was hoping that they gave you the money and you just went off to the races and just spend. You understand what I'm saying? But some of them was having a problem where you know, folks was like, they might spend a few, but they'll like, you know what, let me just pocket the rest because you don't know what can happen. So now with this program, they can have it where, hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, oh, you want to force it? Oh, speaking of which, didn't Biden promise that a forced stimulus check when he came into office? That'll be the perfect opportunity to do that. Oh, you want to force stimmy? Okay, here's the catch. You got 90 days suspended, or you got 60 days suspended. So you think you're just going to just stack the money that they're giving you and use that to, I don't know, maybe move out the hood or save for a rainy day or try to, you know what I'm saying? You do all that. You know what I'm saying? Like you might say to buy a house or buy a new car, something like that. They could shut all that down. They could shut all of that down. You know what I'm saying? And going back to monitoring and controlling, if they see you like buying like, you know, stuff like, you know, like camping gear, you know, see you buy a tent, you buy a sleeping bag, you know, you buy this, you buy that. You looking like, you know, they could be looking like, what the hell is he buying? You see, you buy like a hunting knife, a machete. You know what I'm saying? For you guys in the other states, you buy a gun. I'm like, nah, hold up. Like, what? You understand what I'm saying? They could very easily shut you off. So those are the four things how this CBDC program can get you. Number one, they can monitor what you're spending. Number two, everything is above board. There's no more hiding from the government. So all them side jobs and side hustle and pay me through Cash App and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? That's about to be out the window soon. And speaking of Cash App, you know, we all know that the owner died was mysteriously murdered a few months ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it like this: it might be Cash App's days of running might be numbered. It might be numbered. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying? It might have a new mysterious buyer, and next thing you know, it merged from one, from one to the, it might merge with the FedNow, or who knows? Who knows? So everything you do is on board. That's don't hide from the IRS. The government can monitor you and see what you're buying. They can shut you off if you don't like what you're buying or like what you're doing and what you're saying. And they could give you money and place time limits on how fast you spend it. You know what I'm saying? And since they're about to do away with the paper money, ain't no, let me take it out and hold it in cash. That's about to be dead too. So they got the folks right where they want them. It's all part of the agenda, the charagma. Let's continue.
Theory. You don't have to look at China for that to happen, because all governments can abuse power, including the US. Because on April 5th, 1933, this happened.
Especially the US. Especially the US. Let's continue.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical.
This was a decree issued by Franklin Roosevelt, which gave US citizens 1 month to give up their claims to gold, including coins, bullion, and certificates. Everything was confiscated and had to be returned back to the Federal Reserve. But that's not even the crazy part. The crazy part is the people that did not agree to do this faced 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 per year in fines. Now,
see that? Now this was way back in the day where they were forcing folks to give back, to sell their gold coins and bullions and stuff like that. If not, you could face jail time and a heavy fine. You know what I'm saying? All this is part of the New World Order.
Just for context, back in 1933, that $10,000 represented over 3 times what the average person made in a single year.
Wow.
So that would be like if today the government told us to turn in all our cash or risk being fined over $180,000 per year. Now, you might be thinking the government would never repeat the same mistake from 1933. And you might be right, but you don't have to look very far in history to look for clues on abuse of power. Between 2010 and 2012, the IRS prioritized conservatives and eventually apologized for unfairly targeting them for tax evasion. This naturally happens when power...
You see that? That was something I didn't know. That the IRS was unjustly and unrighteously targeting conservatives, at that time, during 2012. Now, who's to say that cannot happen again? Who's to say that IRS may not be paid to target people who are maybe not conservative as far as political beliefs, but maybe values? You know what I'm saying? Those are folks who not with that rainbow agenda, with that whole princess boy and all that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Trans women on women too and all that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? They find out you ain't a part of that. You ain't supporting the agenda. Yeah, the IRS could comb over your finances with a fine-tooth comb and audit you. Because they feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Didn't President Biden hired, was it 80,000 IRS workers within the past couple years? It's coming. It's coming. It's all part of the charagma. It's all part of the new financial money system. You know what I'm saying? It's going to start with a program, or app or a card. Eventually, it's going to go under your skin. You know what I'm saying? This is all what everything is building up to.
Has an agenda and the technological ability to actually enforce it. So the question we have to ask ourselves is it worth the risk? So here's my personal opinion. Let me just channel my inner Warren Buffett for just a second, because even though it's 2023, it's starting to feel a lot more like 1984. You know what I mean? No, you wouldn't, because it's just like me, a really old reference. So I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything, because I don't know if I fully understand this stuff myself, because it is so complicated. But from my point of view, I don't think this is a fight against cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin. I don't think the government cares. Nor do I think this is a fight against consumers. And I don't think consumers care. When was the last time you got a Venmo payment from a friend and thought, This better settle now, said no one ever. If anything, this is about commerce on a global scale. This is the way for the Federal Reserve to combine what the government is good at, which is trust in its currency system, something it had a lot more of in the past, and combining it with the innovation from the private banking sector. Because hopefully by combining the two, they can create an innovative financial product that allows the US to stay ahead on the global stage. The byproduct of which happens to be full control. But it's also not a tool that the government needed to add to its toolbox. It's got plenty of those. But still, regardless of how much people oppose the idea of CBDCs, I think they're inevitable. As countries around the world launch their own, the US won't want to be left behind. Even the World Economic Forum have told us that if the central banks don't innovate, they'll be left behind and lose the idea of money and trust and, quote, control. So it makes sense why they have to innovate. But does that mean you should sell your dollars and buy some Bitcoin? Probably not. I don't think it's going to be that bad. But I still am just a little bit as a hedge. And that's just me. I hope you have...
So, so that's pretty much it. That goes to show, where this program is heading, where the program is at. And you know what I'm saying? And like he said, a lot of these countries, they are part of this program. They're part of this agenda too. You know what I'm saying? They all trying to find their way, and the US trying to find their way to stay at the top, because as you see with this whole BRICS movement, the BRICS nation, they saying to hell with the dollar, like, yo, we're done. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think the US government what do you think the US government could do so they could stay ahead of the curve and stay on top of everybody else? Moving their money digital. The CBDC, you know what I'm saying? The FedNow program. You know what I'm saying? Which is exactly where we're at right now. So that's the end of this segment. Why do you guys for staying on this long? Quick housekeeping. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, Bubba Kashaw. You know what I'm saying? And also, if anyone watching live or afterwards that feeling it hard to donate, please donate to the Cash App, $IamSham12. Help support Hebrew Israelite Media. Help get the word out. You know what I'm saying? And help, show support for our community. You know what I'm saying? So we don't always have to go to the outside world for our news. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, let's get into our second segment. It's going to be real quick. Just want to breeze through these next two parts. As you can see, you heard about this whole thing with the Palm payment from Whole Foods. As you can see, they're everywhere. They are everywhere. Well, Whole Foods is like in New York, they everywhere. But like in other states too, like, you know what I'm saying? And now they're about to roll out this whole program with paying with just your palm. You know what I'm saying? Which is a half step up from, the eventual, MOTB. You know what I'm saying? The RFID chip. Just a half step there. You know what I'm saying? Not quite there. It's a half step there. So I'm gonna just show this news clip. And we shall proceed. It's just a quick 2 minutes. And here we go.
Soon you will be able to pay for groceries at every Whole Foods in the U.S. with just a swipe of your hand. Amazon says that the Pay by Palm technology will be at all of those stores nationwide by the end of the year. Customers just have to hover their hand over the device to pay. This method is already being used.
And it said it'd be out by the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? That's this program. You know what I'm saying? Which is a half step to the MOTB.
Used at 200 Whole Foods locations across 20 states. And you can also find it in other places, stores like Panera Bread. Hardware editor at TechCrunch, Brian Heater, joins us now. Brian, let's just start off. Tell us how this technology works.
Sure. So in terms of the actual enrollment process, the first time you go to one of these Amazon One locations, you wave your hand over it. That will enroll it you in the program, and then you associate that with a credit card that you have on file. In terms of the actual underlying technology behind it, it's not actually getting a read of the palm itself, which, you know, I think is what most people expect. It's actually taking a look at the vein patterns underneath your hands, which Amazon is effectively saying is a way to do this kind of biometric identification without actually giving any identifying information away.
That's fascinating. I mean, I think anybody who hears this story immediately goes to questions about safety, privacy, the data.
Listen, there's pretty much no privacy if you do that. You know, if they could read the vein through your hand and what the hell they said, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, they pretty much could track you anywhere you go. So there's pretty much no privacy if you mess with that program.
Data that's being collected. Amazon has been criticized in the past for some of the data that they collect, and their whether they have properly notified consumers about that. What safeguards is Amazon taking?
Sure. Well, the primary one is all of this is going through Amazon's cloud servers. So this is encrypted information. Amazon has generally done a good job of protecting privacy through the cloud itself. You know, I think one of the sort of bigger concerns around this specifically is that unlike the biometric data that you're giving on your phone, for example, that's stored locally on the device itself, but this is going up into the cloud. So like theoretically, somebody could potentially grab that data, but it's intensely difficult.
All right, very interesting stuff. Brian Heater, thank you.
What if we live to 100? I don't want to outlive our money. I keep eating all these chia seeds.
For that segment.
I could live to be
100. Say that so the
100.
We work at the power. Even if we do live to 100, we don't have to worry.
Not worried.
Take control of your.
Pause this damn thing. With the palm payment, which again, it lets you guys know that, listen, it's a half step up for the MOTB, because again, with the palm payment, listen, whether it's a palm or the fingerprint, one thing that's both have in common, I believe, at least for your fingerprints, everyone had their own unique set of fingerprints that no two person on this planet had the same prints. You know what I'm saying? And that even includes twins. But also how the palm print, you know what I'm saying, how even just paying with your palm is still a form of they pretty much know who you are and know how to track you and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I gotta say it, but anyone that ever has been arrested within the past maybe 5 or 10 years and been fingerprinted, you know what I'm saying? One thing I know I'll tell you for sure is that not only they take a digital print of your fingers, they take it off your palm too. So if the police can have your palm, take your palm prints, and we're used to identify you in case you might be wanted for other crimes and stuff like that, so can this new program. So can these programs, these how can I say this? These cashless programs that these elites are rolling out. You know what I'm saying? Again, they're making that where all of that, you know, you go to the store, you buy some food with cash and remain anonymous. That's about to go out the window. That's about to go the way of the dodo bird. The elites wants to know everything you're doing. You know what I'm saying? They want to know everything you're doing, even right down to what you're eating. I just did a video last week, not this past weekend, the weekend before, on this whole C40 program. That's this worldwide program where they want to minimize, you know, the amount of meat you're eating, the amount of dairy you're eating, how much clothes you're buying. You know what I'm saying? They want to private ownership of cars and even travel, and they want to have all this implemented by 2030. and it's not even limited. They want to reduce it to zero. You know what I'm saying? When you watch the video, what's that? C40, the C40 agenda. Right there, I'll read. It shows that they want to reduce meat eating to zero, meaning they want to turn into a vegetarian. Dairy consumption, cheese, milk, yogurt, ice cream to zero. They want to reduce all of that. So they want to control not only what you buy, but what you eat as well. All part of the New World Order, all part of the charagma. You know what I'm saying? First, it starts with an app. The app on your phone, like Cash App. Next step is the palm. What do you think the final step is going to be? Those of you, three that's watching, sign off in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Sign off in the chat. You know what I'm saying? And let me just get at this last whatchamacallit, this last video before I get into scripture and close the show. It's kind of in a race against time. So maybe. Yeah, brother, Yahshua, I'm a one. Shalom, shalom. Most I bless you. Yabashim Shabbatah. This last. And this is the final segment. You know what I'm saying? You know, this gentleman, I've been watching him for a few years now, from like way since the lockdowns with you know, way since like COVID, back when his show was still Morning Invest or Morris Invest, where he was giving financial information or how to, you know, get your money up and stuff like that, investing and stuff like that. But like I think last year they made the switch to redacted, where they started covering news that's not being brought out on the media. You understand what I'm saying? This is the gentleman Clayton Morris, and like the beginning of last month, he did a very interesting segment on this damn devil Klaus Schwab. How we saw his name, and it's very interesting. And a lot of Israelites was watching it live when I saw it, and you know, for those who missed it, I'm doing it right now for you. So this is the final segment, and what's the headline? Hang on, Klaus Schwab is getting away with this. Redacted with Clayton Morris, Natalie and Clayton Morris. All right, so I'm gonna just play a few parts of it. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I'm gonna play parts of it, and I'm gonna chime in. Again, this is fair use.
Chip into your hand if you would receive $2,000 a month in return for getting a chip put in your hand. You heard me right. We'll give you universal.
Wait. Let's play that again from the top. From the top.
Here's a question. Would you let someone implant a microchip into your hand if you would receive $2,000 a month in return for getting a chip put in your hand? You heard me right. We'll give you universal basic income, basically, 2,000 euros, $2,000 a month, if you allow us to put a microchip in your hand. That's exactly what's about to happen as part of the rollout of the central bank digital currencies. That's a carrot for them to rope you into this mess. We'll get to that part of the story in a minute.
Now, see, that's the thing. That's the thing. What's the thing I always say? What's the thing I've been saying in my past shows? This is what the elites do to reel you in. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you short on cash? You know what I'm saying? Money is kind of tight. Here, take the chip. Free $2,000. You know what I'm saying? And with this whole what's that Asian? Oh, I forgot what that Asian dude that ran for president. He was talking about that UBI, universal basic income. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They've been talking about that for several years now. You know what I'm saying? Like before the 2020 election, and it kind of died down like afterwards. You know what I'm saying? But now it came up again. You know what I'm saying? And even some cities have already started their own trial run with universal basic income, but in form of, sending money, a check or, send it to your debit or your bank account. But now this damn demon, Klaus Schwab, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Want everybody to eat bugs. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Want everybody to stop eating meat. He proposing this agenda worldwide for the US and in Europe. You know what I'm saying? Anybody want to volunteer to input the chip in their hand? Free $2,000. You spend on whatever you like. You know what I'm saying? Now, how many of our people you think is going to be gullible to take that? A lot of people that's going to be hard up on cash. You see now with the rate of inflation, everything is skyrocketing out of control. You know what I'm saying? A few months ago, a carton of eggs was like damn near $10. You know what I'm saying? Now, praise the Most High that it came down quite a few, and that praise the Most High, at least for me and several other folks, we still know several spots where we could find, a carton of eggs where it's still reasonably priced. But some of these other stuff like cheese and certain meats and stuff, jeez, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of folks that are really hard up and financially strapped for cash, they're going to fall for this. They're going to fall for this agenda. All right, so let's continue. Let's play like a few more minutes, and we're going to get into scriptures and close the show.
At the chip implantation process, not the corn chip, as Dan said in our chat, but a actual metallic tracking chip. But a new report just published this week by the Bank for International Settlements explains how our new digital money system is about to work. We've been warning you that this was coming for a long time.
Uh-oh. What up? Slack,
On this show. Also, we weren't the only ones predicting this. It was predicted in a little book. You might have heard of it, called the Bible, the Mark of the Beast. For one thing, this is how this new system would operate. According to them, the Bank for International Settlements, the new reserve currency, forget the dollar as you know it, basically. This will be the new reserve currency, which is how they want to label it and how they are labeling it. This would be...
And see, the funny thing is that even Edomite Clayton Morris, that he knows, you know what I'm saying, what this RFIDs really is.
Used to settle all transactions as everyone moves away from the US dollar right now. This seems like perfect timing to be moving to this new system. So are they purposefully torpedoing the US dollar in preparation for a global new reserve currency? One might wonder, right? We don't believe in conspiracy theories around here, but you have to wonder. It could include the confiscation of all property, physical property.
See that? It's just like why lows up? Yeah, the conversation of property, which is another thing that's on the horizon. That's another thing that's on the horizon. You know what I'm saying? The elites could come in and snatch your shit. You understand what I'm saying? So this is something that we all need to understand what's coming down the pike. Let's continue.
Property. By assigning it, every item would receive a real world. Every real world item would receive its own unique digital token. So, what do you guys think about this? Right, this idea that they could. I'm not saying they're going to, but your car, your house, all of these sort of physical items that need a token process, you have to get
Slack it. All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there. So, but you guys basically get the point. I'm gonna share the full video in the the comment section post production for anyone who wants to watch the whole thing, watch the whole segment. But as you can see, that Clayton Morris, what I'm saying, that he talks about it, and for those who saw it, the whole thing or will watch the whole thing, you will see that his wife is kind of skeptical, that she doesn't believe that it is the MOTB. You know what I'm saying? So that is our third segment. But the way how this all ties in, FedNow, the palm payment of at Whole Foods and the RFID, they all have one thing in common. They're all the elite's agenda to move away from the paper dollar into cashless, into a cashless society, to the point where they're monitoring how much you spend, where you're spending at, what exactly you're buying, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? It's all part of the new world order. But the eventual goal is to take everything and put it towards that chip. So let me get a first few scriptures. If you're still with me, sign off in the chat, Baba Kashah. First few scriptures, first scripture. Hey man, listen, we're about to enter some serious dark times, y'all. Some serious dark times. Some serious dark times. Jeremiah 30, verse 7. Alas, that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So it's like, let me kind of click the verse here. But he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and the strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. But they shall serve the Lord their God, and David their king, who I will raise up unto them. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, said the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and be in rest and be quieted, and none shall make him afraid. So, you know what I'm saying? This is the time that we're entering into. This is the time of Jacob's trouble, where everything is going to go straight to shit. This is the time that we're entering. You know what I'm saying? We're entering a new world order. Everything digital. The government tracking your every dollar, your every spending habits. No more side hustles. So you think you're going to do some side jobs here and there and get paid under the table through Cash App? That's about to come to an end with this whole FedNow program. You know what I'm saying? If you think real soon, if you think you're going to be speaking out against some of the wicked agendas that the government pushing down the pike, like the whole story time with some transgender reading to your kids, you know what I'm saying? If you make too much of a stink about it, the elites can do a flick of a switch and off goes your bank account. You know what I'm saying? Your bank account's frozen. You can't pay your bills. You can't feed your family. All this is coming down the pike. All of this is coming down the pike. You know what I'm saying? If you don't condone wickedness, if you don't condone the feminism, if you don't conform to upsetting, the sodomite lifestyle, one flick of a switch and off goes your bank account. Or the social credit score, your credit takes a hit, so now you can't go certain places. You can't do certain things no more. This is all that's coming. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, surveillance. You know what I'm saying? Another thing with the whole C40 agenda in the article that I did last week, in the video that I did last week, one of the things they want to implement is limit how far you could travel and make sure you have a return flight. So you think when all this shit goes down, you're gonna buy a one-way, for the brothers, and sisters that might be from the islands, you think you're gonna buy a one-way trip back to your home country and be like, Shalom, I'm out. They about to dub that. You know what I'm saying? They want a return flight. Bring your ass back, to get locked down in this situation and to be locked down in this kingdom. This is what coming down the pike, y'all. So let's fast pray and repent and get ourselves right with the Most High, so the Most High can protect us from all this shit that's about to happen. Let me read that again. Let me read the scripture again. Jeremiah 30, verse 7. Alas, that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and burst thy bonds, and the strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. But they shall serve the Lord their God and their King, who I will raise them up. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, said the Lord of hosts. Neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of the captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest and be quieted, and none shall make him afraid. Yeah, so that's only going to happen to the folks that got themselves right with the Most High. You out here, being wicked and stuff like that. When all these programs come to pass, when they turn up the FedNow, because again, the FedNow, I said it before, and I'll say it again. The program is mandatory for now. No, it's optional for now. Give it a few years, 2026, 2027. They're going to make it where you must take that program. You must follow that FedNow program. Again, like I said, the owner for Cash App, he mysteriously died. And again, like I said, Cash App days is probably limited. Probably might have a few more years until they probably decide to terminate the program, or they might somebody might take it over and fuse it with the FedNow system. They're gonna force everyone under the system, whether you want to be under it or not. So my second scripture, Revelation 13 and 17. You know what I'm saying? The funny thing is, even the Edomite, Clayton Morris, you know what I'm saying, said, he just said it clear as day. You know what I'm saying? Of what this is supposed to be. So Revelation 13, let me start at verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And the image of the beast should speak and should both speak and cause they as many that would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You know what I'm saying? So this is what they're approaching. You know what I'm saying? They're going to force this FedNow program, this digital dollar, this palm, pay with your palm, and all that nonsense. Cost that dude at the top of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, offering people $2,000 to take the chip. You know what I'm saying? $2,000 a month, a month to take the chip. You know what I'm saying? So that's what, $12, like $24,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? So folks who hard up on cash, they might take the bait. They might take the bait, but you know what I'm saying? And for those who may not, you know what I'm saying, who knows the judgment if you was to take that chip, you know what I'm saying? If you refuse, this is what's gonna happen. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive the mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And see, that's where the chip is. You know what I'm saying? The chip with the RFID and the Neuralink, which on my couple last shows that Elon Musk is testing out. Either or, if you take either or, you're screwed. You take either or, the judgment of the Lord is going to be upon you. Verse 17, that no man may buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of this beast. For it's the number of a man. His number is 666. So yeah, that lets you know the time that we're approaching. That lets you know the time that we're approaching. And that's the ultimate agenda. If you're not part of this program, you're not part of the FedNow. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get the and that palm payment. Listen, that's optional for now. Give it a few years. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see more and more stores take on that form of payment. And next thing you know, it's going to be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like the card, like the machines that that all you have to do is tap your debit card on it and it'll read it. You know what I'm saying? It starts off in one store, and next thing you know, every store has it. Even like the regular supermarket, even the spot in the check cash and stuff like that, even they got it. Same thing is gonna be with the palm reading thing. It's gonna start out at Whole Foods. Next thing you know, you're gonna see it at your C-Town and stuff like that. Next thing you know, you're gonna see it at check cash, and next thing you know, you might see it at the local chicken spot. You know what I'm saying? They roll these stuff out in droves, slowly but surely. And a lot of folks thinking that, I got all the time in the world. No, we don't. The Most High is speeding everything up where the door to repenting is closing, and it's going to be nothing but hell and judgment that's gonna be coming forth. So let me get my last scripture. Let folks know what's going to happen if you do take this chip. Because understand this, if you do take this chip, the Most High got the judgment for you. And on top of that, the elites is going to control you, and they're going to own you. They're going to control your every movement. They're going to control what you can buy, what you cannot buy, what you eat, what you cannot eat, and the whole nine. Where you could go, where you could travel, and the whole nine. And if you say something that they think, if they even think you're bucking up against their agenda, they'll flick the switch and they shut you off. You know what I'm saying? So now, you don't have. So now, you get shut off. You can't sustain yourself. You can't provide for yourself and your family. You know what I'm saying? So those of us in the know, it's best to avoid that program altogether. Avoid the wickedness. Avoid the elite's agenda altogether, and just fast pray and repent, so that when the Most High, so when all this stuff comes out full throttle, the Most High will make a way for us to escape from all this. So Revelations 14, start at 6. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, kindred, and tongue of people, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. Worship him that made heaven and earth and sea and the fountains of the waters. So yeah, this is the angel saying, like, yo, repent, get yourself right with the Most High, fear God and keep his commandments, because if not, you won't get caught out there. You know what I'm saying? The Most High gonna rain judgment upon you. And they found another angel saying, Babylon is falling, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Yeah, Babylon the Great, which is America, what I'm saying, make all the nations drink of their ideologies and their philosophies. You know what I'm saying? These countries want to push feminism into other countries. What was it, like early this year? Was that the vice president, Kamala Harris, went over to some African country and was trying to tell them that the government would give them grants and stuff, you into your country. You know what I'm saying? And it pretty much told her, where she could go and what she could do with the money. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? America made all the countries around the world accept their ideologies and wicked philosophies, and a lot of these other nations are starting to see the light and see how poisonous, the Babylonian juice is, and a lot of them like, nah, no thank you. You know what I'm saying? So let me continue. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of the atonement ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receives the mark of his name. Verse 12, here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Hamashiach Yahushai. So that's it. That lets you know what's the judgment. What is the judgment of the people who take the chit? What is the judgment of people who take, the charagma? You understand what I'm saying? This all ties in with Elder Zab's movie of charagma. This whole digital, this whole digital RFID chip that's under your skin, where the government could track your every move, what you're doing, what you're spending, and the whole nine. You know what I'm saying? And a few years ago, make it seem like, oh, this stuff may not happen in our lifetime. But now, as time progresses, you see that it is. That the last segment with Clayton Morris, that was from last month. That the leader of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, wants to give people who test out the microchip in America or in Europe $2,000 a month just to test it out. Now, Klaus Schwab is the devil that the Bible speaks of. No one should trust anything that man has to say or anything that man pushes. This is the same man that pushing that everyone gets off meat and eat bugs. You know what I'm saying? So that's just it, man. Just want to give all thanks to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai. I hope you guys were edified. Here wraps up another episode of The Beginning of Sorrows. As you see, the first segment was about the FedNow program, which came out a couple months ago in July. The palm payment program that's being tested out in Whole Foods and Panera Bread, which pretty much you're going to see everywhere. Give it a few years. And this whole thing with the RFID microchip. They all have one thing in common. The elites are moving, the central bank and the elites are moving away from the paper money and moving everything digital, where they could track every move, find out what you're doing, what you're spending, You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you being a good little slave, give you money so you could, you know, buy some trinkets and stuff like that. But the minute they see you doing something they don't like, or you speaking out against the government or something like that, cut you right off. Or they see you try to be a revolutionary or something like that, they might send them boys at your door. You know what I'm saying? So that's just it, man. So you guys, thank you guys for watching another episode of the beginning of the sorrows. Let's fast, pray, and repent. Again, do a last housekeeping before I close the show. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Tell a friend, get the word out. And again, you know, if you find in your heart you would like to donate, please donate to the Cash App $ I am Sham 12. Again, is support Hebrew Israelite Media. You know what I'm saying? If you're still here, if you post a link for the Karagma, anyone that want to buy a movie, please post it in the link if you're still here. I'm not sure if you are. You know what I'm saying? Or you could just text me and I'll post it in the comment section post-production. But yeah, that's just it, man. Hope you guys are edified. Just want to give all thanks to the Most High, Yahweh, B'Shem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. You know, just close out with a prayer. Got to cook dinner for the kids. May the Lord watch between me and D while we're absent, one from another. Amen. So, guys, the water for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Shalom.